Hello everyone, this is Tiara. I finally realized that it's going to be about 5 years since I've had my Magical Muses series, so I kind of wanted to reminisce on the times I've had and maybe even make fun of myself a little. I also want to thank everyone for supporting the series for all this time. I've had these characters for forever. I love Magical Muses, I love my series, and I'm so excited to finally be able to share it and work on it. So without further ado, let's get started. I kind of want to start by talking about my origins and the inspirations I've had for Magical Muses. Originally, it was very much more music focused, as you know, they are muses, and they leaned more into stereotypes and character archetypes that I kind of now feel that are way too reductive and way too similar to other magical girl shows, but obviously at the time I was just trying to have fun. There also wasn't really much of a story. If you don't know, I have the entire series planned out, and I have quite a few episodes scripted already. But back then, there wasn't really a plan. The plan was just to go however I felt. Whatever came to my mind is what I would have made that day. But alas, I never really ended up making any episodes. I do have some transformations, and you can watch one that I posted a couple months ago. But other than that, there wasn't really any real content that I had. Also, I took a lot of inspiration from other gacha series, as we all do, like Love Blast Girls, the peak, pinnacle, everything a gacha series should be is in Love Blast Girls. I just really was a wannabe Love Blast girl. Regardless of all of that though, I still wanted to be original, and I still think that my ideas were quite nice. So we're gonna start by looking at my old magical girls and move into some villains, and then finally we'll talk about other little things that I found in my camera roll. I unfortunately don't have any screenshots of the very first iterations of Magical Muses, so I just took these pictures from my old intros that I made. So to start, oh god, these characters look so different. I think the biggest difference is that they're obviously all in school uniforms. I'm not super big on school uniforms anymore. Yeah, these are all very interesting. I don't hate them. I think that they are actually quite cute. I do love the eyes. The style is cute. It's just very basic, and you can very much tell the archetypes that they fit into. I think part of character design and character creation in general is being able to tell or kind of get like a vibe of what type of character somebody is just by looking at them, but I don't think it should be as blatantly obvious as it is here, and I think it only gets more obvious when you look at their magical girl forms, which you can see here. It's very blatant what type of magical girl each of these characters fall into. Design-wise, I don't love it, but I don't really hate it either. I think the colors are quite nice, except for that green. It is way too saturated, and I don't really know what the little watery antenna things are, and I think the music motif is a little on the nose with the little headset things that they have. I think it's cute, but especially now that I've kind of drifted away from that heavy music theming, it's a little tacky, a little corny, but that's okay. I still think it's quite cute. I am not a huge fan of the uniform dresses. I think it's not that they're bad, it's just that they're very plain. They're not very interesting to look at, and they don't really speak to them as characters. So I think that's something that I personally wouldn't do now. And the rainbow socks, they don't really make a whole lot of sense, but that's okay. Now we're going to move into individual characters, starting with Arya. Arya was originally named Arya Tolson. Her name now is Arya Anderson, and she used to be named Muse Poppy. All of the muses' names were based on different styles of music, which again, very much on the nose type character design and character creation, which I think is a little silly. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think that's really funny. But now, again, that's something I kind of want to drift away from. I still think Muse Poppy is quite a cute name. It just makes me think of it makes me think of Poppy from Trolls. Same kind of comments about her design. She's just very bland, very stereotypical pink magical girl lead. Her hair is so I just realized how disheveled and sad she looks. Like, girl, get a hairbrush or something. Like, what is going on? And her magical girl hairstyle isn't much better, actually. I like that it like is similar to her regular hair or her civilian hair, but again, I just am like, ooh, girl. Now we are going to talk about Maka Utsujimi, who has now become Valeria Fukuhara. She used to be named Muse Classic or Muse Classical. I couldn't really decide, and looking back on my screenshots, I couldn't really tell what the name was originally going to be. Design-wise, she is very, very, very different. She definitely leaned more into the tomboy stereotype, while Valeria, or Maka here, is definitely a tomboy type. She is a lot different now. She definitely has a more girly side to her now, which I think kind of balances that out. But here she's just straight up like, yes, I love basketball, I play sports, and yes, I am a girl. Like, she's very, very stereotypical, I think. The hair, again, is just a little weird. I'm not necessarily sure what I was going for. I like the shortcut. I think that it is very, very, very cute. Her magical girl form is also very interesting. She was definitely going to be the type that was like, oh my god, I don't want to wear a skirt. Oh my god, I don't want to be girly. Which is, again, very different from modern day Valeria, but that's fine. I'm not necessarily sure what is going on with this hair. I don't like how there's one random curled piece and then the rest of it is all very wispy. I don't know that that makes a whole lot of sense. And the random darker streak of blue is honestly cute. I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at that at all. I guess it matches up with the streak of, like, darker brown that she has in her hair. And yeah, that's kind of it. She's just very one-dimensional, very I am a tomboy type character. Next, we have Leslie Alvera, who is now Serafina Jones. I think that she is one that has changed the most from her very bubbly type personality to the more cool and serious and a little cold Serafina. The one thing about her is that I hate the green. I love green magical girls. I wish there were more green magical girls. She is not a green magical girl. It was very forced on my end. I wanted a green magical girl, so I made her green. I forced it, and it just does not look good. She looks really, really silly. She was way too similar to Arya in the sense that she's also very bubbly, very clueless, but also she was going to be sort of a fashionista type. She was going to be a little self-centered, maybe even a little vain, but I just don't think that that translated well into how I presented her. I almost forgot her name was, I don't think here her name was Muse Electro at this point, but at a later point I did name her Muse Electro. We're moving on to Sophia Payton, who actually does not have a modern-day counterpart. Her name was Muse Disco. In the same way Leslie is very similar to Arya, Sophia is very, very similar to Maka. I think that she is just more outgoing than Maka was. But she was definitely a character that was just there to be there, quite honestly. There was also this little guy who eventually has become Toro. I don't remember much about him either. I just remember that he was a little bunny. He was just there. He was the fairy, obviously, but, like, I don't necessarily know that he served much of a purpose other than being the fairy. These are what looks like 2.0 type designs. They're okay. I think my favorite here is Leslie's. She's no longer green, thank God. The green did not suit her. And the rest of them, again, are just very, very similar, just upgraded outfits. I hate Peyton's hair color. I did change Peyton here to be purple, which I don't necessarily love either. I think what I did was I switched Leslie to a better color and gave Peyton the terrible color. I think my thought process here was that I wanted 2 characters with darker hair and 2 characters with lighter hair, but it just does not suit Peyton and the deep purples that she's wearing at all. I think part of the problem too was that Gacha Club had that limited color palette and I couldn't pick exactly the right colors that I wanted, so it kind of turned out to be that. Other than that though, these designs are just okay. I don't think that they're anything too crazy. And these are their magical girl forms. I will say that I do love Arya's hair. I think it's so much cuter. These outfits are better than the other ones, but I still think they're just quite plain and don't necessarily feel like they match the characters. It feels like I took some random magical girl, like, stock outfit and just threw it onto them. The bows, I think, are cute, but they're a little too human. I don't think they're fantastical enough to really sell the fact that they are magical girls. I love that Leslie's yellow. I think it matches her so much better. This era is where we added a green girl. She's quite cute. I really, really like her outfit. I think it is adorable. The rest of the girls are pretty much the same, except for their outfits, obviously. Again, I think Leslie's the best. I think after her green arc was over, she's consistently been the best design character out of all of them. This green girl here fell to the same fate that Leslie did, where I just wanted a green character, and here she is. The blonde hair, honestly, I don't hate it. I wouldn't give her blonde hair if I were me now, but me then, kinda cooked, not even gonna lie. But yeah, these are, again, very, very plain, very stereotypical. I hate Peyton's outfit, but I think her hair is very cute. I love the long, wispy pieces with, like, the slight, like, nice curl. It adds some dimension to her look. Arya's hair is still the same disheveled mess as always. Same with Maka. Ugh, it's so weird calling them their old names, but for continuity's sake, I will call them their old names, and you can kind of see who's who now. And these are some more updated magical girl forms, excluding Arya, but including the new green girl, who I originally was going to name either Muse Bossa or Muse Swing. I couldn't really decide. And who would have been the mid-season Maison. I don't necessarily know what that meant, and I don't know where that name came from, but yeah, she would have been stereotypical mid-season Cure. I think her hair is quite cute. These outfits are very reminiscent of Love Blast Girls. I told you guys I was such a wannabe Love Blast girl, and it manifested into this. I love Muse Swing's hair. The big, luscious curls are gorgeous. They're very naturey, reminds me... It almost reminds me of a tree, which is really, really silly to say, but it's true. I think that was some great design. Maison's hair, however, it's a little weird. I like the colors that I chose for her hair, though. And this would have been her civilian form, which is very, very Gacha Life coded, if that makes sense. This is just so Gacha Life. And I like her hair. I like that the buns stay in her civilian form and her magical girl form. I think that is adorable. I love the split dye. And that's kind of it. She's very much a Cure Moonlight copy. She looks and was going to act very similar to Cure Moonlight. But that's kind of all she had going for her. I never developed much after I got to this point with Magical Muses. This is kind of the era where I fell off with it. Something I kind of glossed over was this guy. Again, I can't remember his name. This is who the little bunny originally was, and who, again, now is Toro, but he... Ooh, I don't really know what to tell you about this design. He looks like a reject Todoroki, maybe a little bit. I'm not necessarily sure why he was a furry in his human form. I guess Toro is kind of a furry in his human form too, but he's less of a furry, more of a human than this guy is. And it also kind of irritates me that he has human ears and cat ears, but that is just me being nitpicky and being silly. Otherwise, I don't like this design at all. I think he looks weird, I think he looks silly, and I'm not necessarily sure what this scene in the intro that I made was trying to imply. I don't know if there was any romantic implications going on between them. It doesn't look like it, but maybe in the back of my mind, that's what I had going on. And now that is not something I ever want to happen. To set the record straight, I do not want any romantic relationships between the girls and Toro. Toro is way too old for them, and he does not want them. This is where I finally cut Sophia. Not to say that I was excited to, but I just didn't feel like she served any purpose, and so I did end up cutting her. And this is what we had. I actually quite like these outfits. I think that this is the era of magical muses that I feel most nostalgia for, because this is what I worked with the most. We're just gonna go down the line and kind of rate these outfits, I guess. For Maka, the hair is looking so much better. I still don't love it, but I do like it now versus the hair before. The hair clips are very cute. I believe I had a story behind them where her sister, who in this version she lived with, and currently I believe does. I believe. Don't don't quote me on my own lore. It's not like I wrote it or anything. Her sister gave it to her and she like wears it in her hair. I'm not necessarily sure what the little collar thing on her sweater is, but it's giving very much like 2000s rich boy with like the little ascots or like the button-up shirts that they would wear around their necks. I think that that's really silly. And the rest of the outfit is fine. For Aria, I definitely took inspiration from Cure Heart from Doki Doki Precure. If you don't know, Cure Heart is my favorite Precure ever, my favorite anime character ever. I love Cure Heart. I am Cure Heart's biggest fan. So, of course, I'm going to project that onto one of my characters that I love very, very dearly. I hold Cure Heart and I hold Aria in a very, very similar place in my heart. So, that is where she got her inspiration from. The pink streak in her hair is quite cute, and I do love the bows. I think that it's adorable. Her little skirt is just a little too short, and I don't feel like it suits her character that much. And the socks, I feel the same way about. It doesn't really suit her character. But other than that, I do quite like Aria. As for Leslie, I am not necessarily sure why her eyes are purple. I know purple and yellow are complementary colors, but it just looks a little awkward here, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I just don't necessarily think that this outfit suits her personality. Again, she was going to be very much a fashionista diva type character, especially in this era of magical music, and so I feel like this outfit is just a little too cute for her. And finally, for the girl with no name, unfortunately, I feel like this outfit is just a little weird. She took the role of the tomboy character from Peyton, and I just don't necessarily think that it suits her either. The glasses are cute. I do love her hair, and I love the bottom half of her outfit, but I'm not sure why the sleeves of her jacket are so girly when she is very much, again, stereotypical tomboy. I don't really like it, but other than that, I think she's quite cute. And this is the design for Xiao Han. I love the hair. I think it is gorgeous. The color is gorgeous. I love the color palette. Though I'm not sure why her bracelet is red. I think it throws it off a little bit, but that's fine, whatever. I think what I wanted to have happen for her was when she finally came to Earth and became integrated with the group, she'd become more human and more of like a teenage girl, but it would also kind of seem awkward. So her outfit is just a little off, you know? It just feels like something is off, and I honestly like that about her. It makes her feel more out of place and more different than the other girls who have been living on Earth their entire life. And this is what marks the end of the original run of Magical Muses. These outfits are adorable. I do like them, except for Green Girl and maybe Maka's. I think it's a little basic, but I think Aria's and Leslie's are so cute. Especially Leslie's. I think her hair is gorgeous. The bow is gorgeous. The outfit is gorgeous. She is so tea. She is so cute. I love her. It makes me honestly want to remake her or make a character very similar to her because I think that she is the cutest. I think that's the trend of the day, is just me glazing Leslie so hard. Like, I love Leslie Alvera, and I'm so happy that she's become a character like Serafina, because I love Serafina. I think she's so cute, and she secretly is my favorite design. But yes, these are adorable, I love them, and I believe I have their magical girl forms. This picture is a screenshot taken from the ending I made for the series. I think that these are definitely not my favorite, except for Aria's. I love Aria's. I think that it is so very much pop star, very much like cute bumpin' and jumpin' type vibe. This reminded me of one of the big plot points of Magical Muses, which was that they were all going to form a band and they would use their music to fight off villains or whatever, which is not something that they will necessarily do in the new series, but I still think it's a very cute idea, and maybe I'll revisit it one day, but for now, that's not something I'll be doing. Regardless, looking at these designs, I actually really like that Maka's is different. Like, she's not wearing a dress or anything. I like that her is more like an armor. But one thing I would change is maybe not have her wear shorts. I feel like it kind of ruins the armor vibe. But I guess what I had going here was that each of them would have one leg that's like fully covered with the sock, and then another one that's more open, which I think is cute, but it just doesn't really suit Maka, I think. I do like Leslie's little sunflowers in her hair. I think that is adorable. And I can't really tell what is going on with the green girl in the back, but I can kind of make out the shape of a cape, which is not something I would give a magical girl now, or any superhero for that matter. I feel like superhero 101 is that you should not be wearing a cape. That's how you get things caught on it. I also don't really like her visor. I think it's a little odd. But other than that, I think that these are very, very, very cute, and I honestly would remake them or use them for something else because I think that they're adorable. We're moving on with villains, starting with who has now become Laguna and his sister. I could not tell you their names. I don't remember any of these villains' names, but that's okay. Part of what inspired me for who is now current day Laguna was these characters. I did not give Laguna a sister just because I felt like it wasn't necessary to the story, but I do really like these designs. I think the blue and the raspberry type pink work so nicely together, and I like that they're matching. I think that is so silly. But other than that, there's not much to them. Again, they're very much one-dimensional villains, just like the heroes were one-dimensional. I didn't have anything planned for them. They were just gonna kind of come, bring the monster of the week, and then go. And that's fine. I don't really hate villains that are like that, but me personally now, I want more substance to them, and that's exactly what I gave them. Or at least what I think I gave them. Next, we have this little witch girl. I, again, don't remember her name. She takes a lot of inspiration from Chocola from Sugar Sugar Rune, which I guess you can kind of tell. I, again, don't know what role she had, but I love her dress. Her dress is so gorgeous. And her hair, I like the stark orange. I think that is very cute. Other than that, though, there's not a lot to say about her, mostly because I don't remember her. I don't think I even had a role for her. She was just kind of there. And finally, we have this guy. Like I said before, don't remember his name, but I think he's nice. He is very edgy, very typically emo, I guess. I like his hair, the color's nice, and I like his outfit. I'm not necessarily sure what the demon wings have to do with anything, but he is the inspiration for the two, villain overlord type characters that I have, which nobody's seen yet, and no one will for a very long time. He exists, and that's all I really have to say about him. And with that, we are now at the present day versions of Magical Muses. I am so happy I got to make this video. It was so fun to think about all the memories that I've had of this series, and I'm so excited to be able to finally make it exactly the way I want it. I love my characters, like I said, I love this series, and I am so thankful that you guys continue to support me and my series Magical Muses. Stay tuned for more updates, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!